Hi guys, today I will be sharing how to make white chocolate mud cake. For the ingredients we need 250 grams of white chocolate. I use Nestle white chocolate melts, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 250 grams of unsalted butter, half a cup of sour cream, 2 eggs, 2 and 3/4 cup of plain flour, 200 ml of water, and we also need 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. So to begin, we're gonna combine the flour, the salt, and the baking powder. Give this a mix, and we will set this aside. We're gonna sift this later. So in a saucepan, we're gonna combine the water, the butter, sugar, and the white chocolate. Using low heat, we're gonna melt the butter and the chocolate. Just like so. Once all the chocolate and butter is melted, we can take this out of the heat. So I let this cool down slightly, about 5 minutes, just to make sure that when we add the egg, it doesn't curdle. So now I'm adding the half a cup of sour cream. Mix the sour cream until it is well combined. It is best to use a whisk to do this process. At this point, we can add in the vanilla and then the 2 eggs. Now it's time to sift in the dry ingredients. Now, it's just a matter of mixing this until it is well combined. By the way, your oven should be preheated at 160 degrees Celsius. So before starting the batter, preheat your oven. And the batter is now ready. We're gonna transfer this into a 8 by 3 round cake pan with the parchment paper on the bottom and on the side. Make sure that your parchment paper is slightly higher than the cake pan, so it allows the cake to rise over the cake pan. And we will bake this in a preheated oven at 160 degrees Celsius for about 2 hours to 2 hours 10 minutes, or until when you insert the skewer in the middle and the skewer comes out clean. And this is what it looks like after baking. I would normally bake this the night before I knead the cake, so it gives the time for the sides and the top to soften up a little bit. So after overnight, this is what it looks like. Ignore the top part of my cake because some little hands get into it and start eating the cake. But anyway, I will not need the top part. So this is optional step. I'd like to trim the side of the cake. Yes, it looks brown, but I can guarantee that the inside of the cake is still very moist. So I'm gonna trim the cake just to make sure that when you slice the cake, it looks really good. The side and top of the cake is still very crunchy at this point. It's really, I highly recommend to refrigerate the cake so it's easier to slice as well and cut. Now I'm cutting the dome part of the cake. I'm cutting the cake in the middle so we have 2 layers. Here is our cake. We're ready to ice this. I'll be using my recipe for Swiss meringue buttercream. I'm gonna put the link in the description box on where you can find the recipe and how to make it. Now let's fill the cake and ice the cake. So this is my Swiss meringue buttercream. The icing on the top of the first layer. You can put as little or as much as you like. It's okay if it overlaps because we're gonna be using the same icing to the outside of the cake. Now I'm putting the second layer on top. And now it's a matter of icing the outside of the cake. I'm gonna be doing a crumb coating on this cake. So the first coating of this cake doesn't need to be perfect. Once you're happy with your crumb coating, this will go in the fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the butter or the Swiss meringue buttercream hardens up a little bit. So after 15 to 20 minutes, we're ready to finish icing the cake. So add small amounts of the icing on the side and on the top of the cake. Icing this one doesn't need to be perfect because I'm gonna do a rustic design on the cake, but you can do any decoration that you want. This is just a sample. Now I'm just gonna using my spatula, I'm just gonna lift my spatula up and down on the side of the cake. Again, this is just a sample design. And also on the top. I have sprinkles that I'm gonna put on the side of the cake. Again, optional. And I'm also putting the sprinkles on the top side of the cake. So I also decided to put a little bit of fondant roses just to add more color. And this is our finished product. I hope you give this a try because this cake is really good. I can guarantee that you're not gonna be disappointed making this. The inside is very moist. The cake is quite dense, which is good if you're planning to make fondant cakes. It is best to leave this at room temperature before slicing it. And just to show you what it looks like inside when you cut the cake. Here it is. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again next week. Bye!